Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at a really unique concept,
Yeah,
the Umbral,
the Umbral.
a spirit world that's described in Spiritist literature.
Absolutely.
We're going to be exploring what life is like on the quote-unquote other side,
Yeah.
according to Spiritism, and we're going to be using A Vida no Umbral
Great source.
from the Chico Xavier Institute as our guide.
Excellent choice.
Even if you aren't super familiar with Spiritism, I think you'll find this exploration pretty fascinating.
Yeah, Spiritism presents a very different understanding of the afterlife, one where Earth has a spiritual counterpart.
Okay.
The
This is
Umbral,
not heaven,
right. Not in the traditional sense.
as many religions describe.
Right, but
Okay.
it's a world that reflects our actions and choices while we're alive.
So this is really about how we live our lives right now.
Absolutely.
It's going to have some sort of effect on the afterlife.
Yeah, it's all about cause and effect.
Okay, let's jump right in. What exactly is this Umbral?
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You have an invisible layer, and it's interwoven with the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
It mirrors Earth's geography even down to its time.
Interesting.
But instead of sunny days and starry nights, you have this dense, dark fog that never lifts.
Oh, wow.
That's the umbral.
Okay.
And it's heavy and gloomy
Hmm.
and perpetually shrouded in this reddish, eerie light.
Wow, that imagery is so vivid. I
Yeah.
can almost feel that oppressive atmosphere.
It's a heavy place.
And you said it mirrors the Earth.
It does.
So does that mean that there are mountains and oceans and forests in this shadowy realm?
There are, but they're not quite as inviting
Okay.
as they are on Earth.
Right.
It's more like desolate stretches of lands,
Yeah.
rocky terrains,
Mhm.
patches of vegetation that just seem to struggle for survival.
Interesting.
Even the animals and birds that are described lack that vibrancy and beauty that we see here.
It's interesting how the source really emphasizes that lack of beauty, this
Yeah.
almost decaying feel to the umbral. It makes you wonder if that's like a reflection of something deeper, you know?
Exactly.
Something about the state of the spirits inhabiting this world.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It ties into a core concept of Spiritism, which is vibrational affinity.
Okay.
Essentially, spirits are drawn to the umbral based on the energy that they carry from their earthly lives,
Okay.
their state of awareness, and the choices they made.
So it's not a punishment from a higher being,
Not at all.
but a consequence of their own
Their own actions.
vibration.
And vibrate, exactly.
Okay.
It's like it tracks, like even in the afterlife.
But here's something I found really surprising.
Okay.
You mentioned cities
Yes.
in the umbral.
Cities in the umbra.
Cities
Yes.
in this desolate, shadowy place.
It might seem counterintuitive, but yes, there are.
I would love to hear more about these umbral cities.
Absolutely.
What are they like?
They resemble those on Earth, but with a much darker energy.
Okay.
They're organized hierarchically, often ruled by figures described as chiefs,
Okay.
who maintain control through intelligence and, sadly, through manipulation.
That raises so many questions
Yeah.
about the power dynamics
Yeah.
in the afterlife.
Absolutely.
What kinds of things happen in these cities?
Well, the picture painted by the source is definitely complex.
Okay.
Imagine grandiose structures that are dedicated to feasts and judgment of inhabitants.
Oh, wow.
There are even libraries
Okay.
filled with books on negativity,
Okay.
even earthly publications that reflect baser desires.
What kind of earthly publications?
Things like pornographic material.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's a very stark contrast, you know?
It is.
Libraries alongside less savory establishments.
Exactly.
It seems like a society grappling with a lot of the same issues that we face here.
And that's a crucial point.
Yeah.
The umbral, according to Spiritism,
Mm-hmm.
reflects our spiritual state.
Mm-hmm.
Some spirits, even after physical death, are still clinging to those earthly desires
Right.
and haven't progressed to a higher understanding.
Right.
And that's reflected in the environments they create.
So they're kind of creating their own reality in a way.
Exactly.
Wow. It really challenges that idea of a simple heaven or hell scenario, doesn't it?
It does.
It seems like the umbral is much more nuanced,
Yes.
a reflection of our own internal state, projected outwards.
Precisely. And within the umbral, there are also these fascinating groupings of spirits called nuclei.
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 Okay.
And they're formed based on shared affinities,
Mm.
similar desires,
Mm.
or even shared experiences.
Can you give us an example of a nucleus?
Sure.
I'm curious to understand how these groups form and what it's like to be a part of one.
One particularly haunting example is the valleys of suicide.
Oh, wow.
These are the dwelling places of spirits who took their own lives,
And so they all end up together
drawn together in
this valley.
by that shared experience.
I can imagine the despair they must experience
It's a very heavy place.
to end your own life,
Right.
only to find yourself in a state of even greater suffering.
It's a chilling glimpse into the consequences of such a choice.
It really makes you think about the permanence of our choices.
It does.
And makes you wonder, is there any hope for these spirits in these valleys?
Well, while the source paints a bleak picture,
Okay.
it also hints at the possibility of intervention.
Okay.
Both benevolent spirits attempting rescue and sadly malevolent ones seeking to inflict further suffering are said to visit these valleys.
So there's this kind of back and forth between
Yes.
the forces of good and evil
Constant struggle.
still playing out.
Yeah, even in the Umbral.
It sounds terrifying but fascinating.
It is a complex dynamic.
Yeah, and I'm so curious to hear more about those interventions and whether there's truly a way out of these valleys of despair. But we're going to have to take a quick break.
We'll be right back to discuss the complexities of healing and hope, even in the depths of the Umbral.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
We're back, and I'm still reeling from that glimpse into the valleys of suicides.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the impact of our choices, doesn't it?
It does.
It underscores one of the key tenets of Spiritism,
Mm,
that our actions have consequences
right.
that extend far beyond our physical lives.
Before the break, we were talking about the souls that are trapped in these valleys.
Right.
And the source mentions both benevolent and malevolent spirits visiting them.
Yes.
It almost seems counterintuitive,
Yeah.
that malevolent spirits would be drawn to a place already filled with suffering.
It might seem that way.
Yeah.
But remember, the Umbral is a reflection of our inner states,
Okay.
those who are clinging to anger or resentment,
Right.
a desire to inflict pain,
Even after death.
even after death.
Okay.
They gravitate toward those environments
Okay.
that resonate with those feelings.
So even in the spirit world,
Yes.
there's a dynamic interplay between
There is
those seeking to help
right.
and those who...
Those who revel in the suffering of others.
Yeah.
Precisely.
And this ties into another fascinating aspect of
Yes.
the Umbral.
Yes.
The presence of these justice seekers.
Yes, the justice seekers.
And you describe them as capturing and mistreating spirits they deem deserving of punishment, often based on actions from their past lives.
Yeah.
But isn't that a bit contradictory?
It's a very interesting concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
To the whole idea of spiritual evolution.
Right. It seems more like an eye for an eye.
It does seem at odds with the core principles of compassion and forgiveness that are so central to Spiritism.
Right.
But if we look deeper,
Okay.
we see that these justice seekers are also products of their own unresolved issues, their
Oh,
own attachments
okay.
to anger and retribution.
So they're kind of stuck in that.
They're trapped in a cycle of negativity,
Okay.
believing that they're enacting justice.
Right.
But in reality, they're just perpetuating suffering.
It really makes you think about the nature of true justice, doesn't it?
It does.
From this perspective, it's not about punishment or revenge. It's about understanding,
Right.
healing,
Yes.
and ultimately helping others to evolve beyond their harmful patterns.
True help, according to Spiritism, comes when a spirit is ready to accept it, to look inward,
Okay.
acknowledge the need for change.
And I think that's something that we can all apply to our own lives as well.
Absolutely.
So often we get caught up in judging others,
right.
seeking retribution for perceived wrongs,
Yeah.
but maybe the real path
They be
healing, both for ourselves and others, lies in understanding,
Yeah.
forgiveness, and compassion.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to a remarkable aspect of the Umbral,
Okay.
one that offers a glimmer of hope amidst all this darkness.
Yes.
The existence of aid posts.
aid posts.
These are places of healing,
Yes.
guidance, and support
That's right.
that are scattered throughout the shadowy realm.
Places of refuge.
Aid posts.
Yes.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, picture this.
Okay.
Amidst the desolate landscapes,
Okay.
the gloomy cities,
Hmm.
the pockets of suffering, you find these oases of beauty and tranquility.
Wow.
They're bathed in light,
Okay.
often with gardens,
Wow.
that stand in stark contrast.
So there's like a stark visual difference.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
They're linked to higher-level spiritual colonies,
Interesting.
and they offer a haven for those who are ready to seek help,
Okay.
to embark on that path of healing and spiritual evolution.
It's almost like a visual representation of hope.
It is.
amidst despair.
Exactly.
But if the umbral is shaped by our inner states,
Right.
our vibrational affinity,
Yes.
how can places like this even exist?
It speaks to the idea that even within the darkness,
Okay.
there's always that potential for light, a possibility for transformation.
Okay.
The aid posts, according to Spiritism, are created and maintained by highly evolved spirits.
So these are spirits that have moved on.
We've transcended
Okay.
the negativity,
Okay.
and they're dedicated to helping others do the same.
That's incredible.
Their presence demonstrates that even in the most challenging environments, compassion and the desire to help can prevail.
It makes you wonder, how do spirits in need even find these aid posts?
That's where the Samaritans come in.
Okay.
These are truly remarkable spirits,
Okay.
dedicated to rescuing those who are lost,
Mm-hmm.
suffering and seeking a way out.
Samaritans.
Samaritans.
That name evokes such a powerful image of compassion
It does.
and selflessness.
Yes.
What are these Umbral Samaritans like?
Imagine brave souls venturing into the depths of the Umbral,
Oh,
navigating treacherous landscapes,
yeah.
venturing into hostile cities,
Wow.
all in search of those who need their help.
It sounds incredibly dangerous.
It can be.
What happens when they find a spirit in need?
They transport them to an aid post,
Okay.
where they can begin the process of healing and orientation.
So it's not just about rescuing them from immediate danger,
It's about providing them with the care
right?
they need to move forward.
On their spiritual journey.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It is a remarkable system.
Yeah, it makes you realize that even in a world as seemingly bleak as the Umbral,
Right.
compassion and hope can truly make a difference.
They can.
I'm eager to hear more about these aid posts and the healing that takes place within them. But first,
We'll be back soon to delve deeper into the process of transformation and the power of choice, even in the afterlife.
we're back, and I'm still in awe of those Samaritans,
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is.
To think about these dedicated spirits venturing into the Umbral's depths to rescue those in need.
Yeah, what happens once they bring a rescued spirit to an aid post?
Well, think of it as like a spiritual hospital
Okay.
and rehabilitation center combined.
Okay.
The aid posts offer a wide range of services, from treating energetic imbalances
Mm-hmm.
to providing spiritual counseling.
So it's really a place to...
It's a place to rest,
Okay.
recover,
Yeah.
and begin to process those often traumatic experiences of the umbral.
I imagine for many spirits, just arriving at an aid post must feel like a huge relief.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
like a sense of finally being safe
Yes,
and cared for.
exactly.
What does that healing process even look like in these havens?
It's tailored to each spirit's needs
Okay.
and their level of spiritual awareness.
Okay.
Some might require energetic healing
Okay.
to address the lingering effects of trauma or negative attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Others might benefit from counseling
Okay.
to help them understand the choices that led them to the umbral and to begin to chart a new course.
It sounds very individualized,
Very much so.
recognizing that each spirit is on its own journey.
Exactly.
Now, the source does mention that some spirits, even after experiencing the care and support of an aid post,
Right.
choose to remain in the umbral.
Yes.
Why would that be?
That's where the profound respect for free will within Spiritism comes into play.
Okay.
Some spirits, even in their suffering, are so attached to those familiar patterns, their grudges, their desires.
They just can't let go.
They resist change.
Oh.
They may not be ready to face that work of self-reflection and transformation,
Which is necessary.
which is often necessary to move beyond the umbral.
It's a reminder that true healing and spiritual growth can't be forced.
It can't.
It has to come from within.
It has to come from a genuine desire.
Yeah, and it makes me think about how we see this play out on Earth, too.
Absolutely.
People clinging to harmful habits, unhealthy relationships,
Right.
even when offered help and support.
It's a reflection of that same dynamic.
The umbral, in many ways, mirrors our own human experience,
It does.
just on a different plane.
On a different plane of existence.
But the choices we make, the attitudes we hold,
They shape our reality.
wow, both in this life and beyond.
Exactly.
This entire concept of the umbral, those desolate landscapes,
Right.
the cities ruled by fear,
Yeah.
those heart-wrenching valleys of suicides,
Mhm.
and then these beacons of hope, the aid posts and the selfless Samaritans.
Right.
It's such a visually rich and thought-provoking exploration.
It really is.
It challenges our conventional notions of the afterlife.
It does.
And for me, the most powerful message, I think,
Yep.
is the enduring power of hope.
Yes.
Even in the darkest of places, the potential for transformation,
It's always there.
healing, choosing a path towards light always exists.
It does.
This deep dive into the Umbral has been truly eye-opening.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I feel like I'm walking away with a whole new understanding of the afterlife, not as a fixed destination,
Right.
but as a continuation of our journey of growth and evolution.
And for our listeners, if this has sparked your curiosity,
Yeah,
I encourage you to delve deeper into the Spiritist teachings.
absolutely.
It offers a unique and insightful perspective on life, death, and the interconnectedness of it all.
And if there's one question to take away from this deep dive,
Okay.
it's this. If our thoughts and actions shape our experience in the afterlife, what kind of world are we creating for ourselves right now?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
One worth pondering.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this exploration of the Umbral.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep the light burning bright.